Do you remember the first time a movie actually scared you, like really got under your skin? You just finished the movie, you turn off all the lights in your house, and then you feel like you're being watched by something or someone in the shadows. And the thing is, everyone has that one scary movie that's gonna stick with them for the rest of their lives. The horror movie genre has never been more accessible than it is right now, and it's never been stronger than it is right now. Welcome back to Gavin Goes to the Movies. I'm Gavin, let's talk movies. Today we're going to be talking about just how good the horror genre has been over the last few years. I mean, this year we got the releases of Late Night with the Devil, Longlegs, Alien Romulus, Nosferatu, and more. And that really got me thinking, what's the one thing that they all have in common? They're all horror movies, but they all have different elements that make them a horror movie. Now, there's no mistaking that the horror genre has had its ups and downs throughout the years. We've seen subgenres within horror take over for a certain amount of time. We had remakes like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Hills Have Eyes, and even original ideas like Saw and Hostel. Brutal violence and gore sold movie tickets back then. Now let's fast forward 20 years. And now we're seeing the best that these movies have to offer thanks to upcoming directors, actors and actresses, and even just stories in general. The horror movies are thriving. Now we've seen over the last 10, 20 years some of the most creative and unique directors in horror maybe ever. First up, let's talk about James Juan. In my opinion, he's the GOAT of horror. He basically paved the way for modern horror with gore in his Saw movies, but then also good storytelling and supernatural horror with the Conjuring and Insidious movies.
Honey? What's wrong?
Mom? Who's that?
Jordan Peele went from a comedy sketch show icon to an icon in horror. I remember seeing the trailer for the movie Get Out, and I thought to myself, this is the guy who made that? The cool thing about Jordan Peele and his movies is that they're thought-provoking and they make you think, what if this actually were to happen, or maybe it's happening now? Now, David F. Sandberg created a little short movie called Lights Out. The movie about that thing that lives in the shadows was actually a short film that he created with his wife. They uploaded it to YouTube, they got noticed, and then they were able to make a big budget movie from it. And then he contributes to the Conjuring universe with Annabelle Creation, which, if we're being completely honest, that's one of the scariest movies in the franchise. He does a really good job at creating tension and scares in traditional ways like imagery and build-up. And that, my friends, is how you get the directing gig to one of the most family-friendly superhero movies ever made, Shazam. Next up is Mike Flanigan, and honestly, I cannot say enough good things about this guy. He uses near-perfect storytelling in his movies, and he develops characters in his series to the exact point that they should be, that you start to care about them and what's going on. He does a really good job at creating a very creepy, scary atmosphere to engage us, and he uses his jump scares the best way possible, sparingly. His movies are nothing but quality, and he gives us different ways to experience horror, suspense, or drama in incredible ways. In my opinion, he is the best there is right now. He's actually so good that Blumhouse hired him to reboot the Exorcist franchise. I believe in this guy so much that I'm willing to bet this is the best Exorcist movie we've ever gotten. Better than the original. Now let's talk about Robert Eggers. If you've never seen The Witch or The Lighthouse, you are seriously missing out. Robert uses build-up and atmosphere to really creep the audience out. There aren't really any jump scares in his movies, it's just complete atmosphere. The best way to describe Ari Aster's movies is unique. His movies Hereditary and Midsommar make you think they're one thing, and then it turns into a completely different thing, and you're at a loss for words. I caught myself weeks after seeing Hereditary and just thinking about how creepy it was and realizing that it's sticking with me weeks after I saw it. And then there's Midsommar. Dude, how are you gonna make a scary movie in the daytime? Somehow he found a way to do it. Oh, and how could I forget about his short film, The Strange Thing About the Johnsons? It's a very weird movie, it's very uncomfortable, it's on YouTube. Check it out if you want. But what about the Scream Queens? We have Jamie Lee Curtis, Neve Campbell, Sigourney Weaver. All of them did so much for the genre, and now we have a new generation of actresses to push it even further. First up is Jenna Ortega. I mean, let's look at her resume. We have X, Scream 5 and 6, and now she's the lead in the Netflix show Wednesday, which got a second season, and that's just the last few years. And now she's starring in a movie that I never thought we were gonna get, Beetlejuice. Now, Anya TaylorJoy made her horror debut in Robert Eggers' The Witch, and since then she's been in a wide range of horror movies, some conventional and some a little bit different. Now, Mia Goth is one of the best in the horror genre and arguably one of the best actresses working today. The Ty West X trilogy, A Cure for Wellness, and so much more. Micah Monroe is another actress who's very well known within the horror genre. Making a huge statement with It Follows, she kept the momentum going throughout her entire career up to this point with The Watcher, Villains, Longlegs, and plenty more. Now, nothing is better when you go into a movie not expecting much, nothing to really change the game, and you end up being really surprised either by the quality or just what the movie does. And honestly, recently, horror has been doing that in spades. Now, there's been a lot of surprise hits within the horror genre, but let's take a look at a few of them. Terrifier 2 was the indie slasher that blew up at the box office. The first Terrifier is about as low of a budget of a movie as you can get. Now, Terrifier 2 got the budget of $500,000. Now, for a movie, that's nothing. That's not a big budget by any means, but that's a lot more than they had than the first movie. Terrifier 2 was supposed to get released exclusively on Screambox, but they decided to do a limited release. And by limited, I mean like a weekend. But it turns out that Terrifier 2 did good on that limited release. It did so good, in fact, that they kept requiring more and more showtimes, and the movie ended up making over $10 million on that $500,000 budget. And that's why Christmas came early this year with Terrifier 3. I didn't hear about this movie until the day it got released. I watched a short TV spot when I was at work, and I told my wife, hey, let's go check this out. Let's not watch the actual trailer. Let's just go in as cold as possible. And just like a lot of Ari Aster's movies, it made you think it was one thing, and then it flips it on its head, and you have no idea what you're watching. It's unpredictable, it's unique, and we need more of that. We recently got the new Halloween trilogy starring Jamie Lee Curtis, finishing the job that she started over 40 years ago. It was directed by David Gordon Green and written by Danny McBride. Yeah, it's a really weird collaboration between those two, but you know what? We got a new Halloween trilogy out of it that started good. Scream got a soft reboot in 2022, and it's doing better than it ever has before. And very quickly after that reboot, we got a sequel in Scream 6. And Scream 6 had the highest grossing weekend of any Scream, like ever. People love them some Ghostface. Now there may be directors, actors, actresses, movies I may be forgetting, but the point I wanted to make is that horror is in the best place it's ever been. There's literally something for everyone. Slashers are making a comeback with Scream and the Terrifier series. We have indie horror movies like Long Legs, Oddity, and Late Night with the Devil that are movies that are able to take chances at being different and have major success. Mystery and suspense are given a new breath of life thanks to people like Jordan Peele and Robert Eggers. And literally just the tone of a movie can have a lasting impression. And then reboots are here to show us that legends never really die. And arguably the most important reason why horror is the best it's ever been. And that's a good story with characters that we care about, where the sequels can be made and feel believable and earned. Thanks for watching, everybody, and you know, after making a video like that, I have to ask,
what's your favorite scary movie?
Now, if you like horror movies or just movies in general, be sure to subscribe to my channel for movie news, reviews, rankings, recaps, and more. Until the next video, everybody, see you later.